Producing on the fly. I feel it might be a remix night tonight, Zuby. A little remix music tonight. I think the people need it.
Off the top, even, you want the remix?
Give it to them.
All right.
Podstream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
What's going on, folks? Throwing a little something different at you, changing it up. Feel like you could use a little something new. We've got your back remix theme music coming at you. Oilers, a stinker, 4-1 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have lost 4 games in a row for the first time this season, 6 of their last 8. Oh boy, lots to break down tonight. Struddy's here, Brownie's here. Zuby's got his hands on the controls and is giving you this remix. So we have a great show set to go tonight. As always, it is brought to you by our title sponsor, Play Alberta. When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more so you can play casino games, bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything you need to know is at playalberta.ca. I'm coming at you from our Adrenaline Diesel studio. If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Check it out at adrenalinediesel.ca. All right, the boys are all at the home post, and we're ready to rock and roll tonight. Although, Struddy, you had some equipment go missing right before the show tonight.
No, right before. So I had to run out. I run a decamp on Tuesday nights, and I said to the kids, you can use my laptop. Just put it back where you found it. Come home. Nowhere to be found. I go into the room, wake them up. Hey, man, where's my laptop? What are you doing? I'm doing what you should have done. Put my laptop out and the cord. Just crazy. I have it both in the same spot. So, yeah, Daddy wasn't happy. So Daddy was home in a bad mood. So I'm fired up here, guys. Hang on to your hats.
Look out. Look out. Yeah, well, I'm happy to know that it happens in other houses too. Hey, Brownie, like when you got 5 in this house, the stuff goes missing all the dang time. I don't know what it's like at your shop, Brownie.
Well, our daughter runs the show here, so she has whatever she wants. At times, she'll have the TV on, the iPad, and both our phones in her hand. Actually, I'm the one that was my wife got a little, I don't know if she's upset with me, but she was teaching a class at U of A online today, and I thought that would be a really good time to try to change out the cable box, which took out all the Wi-Fi in the house. So while she's teaching 70 students online, the Wi-Fi went out, her screen went black.
Whoops.
And all of a sudden I hear, I'm like, what? Why is my wife running down the stairs trying to find a phone to finish her class? So it's like, ooh. So I got out of the house very quickly, went to the Oilers game really early tonight. I was there with Bryn about 3 hours before the game. So I haven't seen her yet since I got back.
Yeah, I was in the doghouse. Little doghouse action for me the other day. So every once in a while, it'll be like, hey, going to the store, anybody want anything? And so Randine requested these Smart Sweets. They're just like little low sugar candies, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need anything, right? Health kick that moment. So as it turns out, I might have just gone ahead and eaten all of those before she'd had any.
Oh.
And so, yeah. She comes at me with the empty package and the eyebrow raised. So all of a sudden it was like, guess who's heading to the store? So right to the store. And the one I went to, no Smart Sweets. I had to make 2 different stops to actually find them. So yeah, when you take what's not yours, sometimes there's a price to be paid. So the Strudwick children and this Rishaug husband feeling the brunt of that in the last little bit here. All right, enough chit chat. We got people just to give you an example of what's going on the stream, guys. Here's Kay Gill. Kay Gill says, if any of you will defend Skinner on the 2nd and 4th goal, I will riot. That second goal was a dagger, and it changed how the team played. So we got Kay Gill, who's normally so calm and composed on the stream. Hey, Zuby. He's flat out ready to go snap show.
Ahmed's got them missing the playoffs now. Ahmed says they won't make the playoffs. This is going to be a massive losing skid.
All right,
Slow
all right.
down.
We're not gonna entertain goofiness on the show tonight, but we certainly will allow you to vent off some frustration, and we are going to break it down. Let's get to the breakdown. Brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn at your Alberta Ram dealer. Beautiful truck in and out. If you want to take one for a test drive or just get eyes on one, sit in one, go see your Ram dealer today. All right, 4th consecutive loss. The first time that has happened this season. First time, I think, since November of 23. So it's been a little while since the Oilers have had this kind of a nasty run. It's 6 of 8, I believe. So it's gone sideways here, gentlemen. Lots to break down, reasons why and such. Brownie, I'm going to kind of lay it out for you on what you think the headline was tonight on this another Oiler loss.
I don't know. Headline?
Struds?
I'm glad you went first.
Struds, go ahead.
Slow learners. I mean, the last 48 hours, all we've heard is the Oilers can't shoot themselves in the foot. They can't turn the puck over. They got better puck management. They gifted opportunities to both Philadelphia and Washington. So that's all they've talked about. That's all. Chris Knobloch's talked about it. The players in the dressing room have talked about it. First shift, Evan Bouchard turns the puck over in his own zone. First shift, after they talked all about it, we can't do this anymore. Then Leon Draisaitl gives them a 1-0 lead for a minute 18, and the 4th line player turns the puck over at center ice. 4th line players aren't allowed to carry the puck over red line. Dump the puck in. That's your job. You got one job.
Easy, Brownie. He was a first liner 2 games ago, so careful there.
Yeah,
careful.
And
there.
and it didn't last very long. So to me, slow learners, because all the things that they've talked about for the last 24, 48 hours, it was the exact same things. They gifted opportunities to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And guess what? Tampa doesn't need gifts. They're a good hockey club. But to me, Struds, the same thing that's plagued them over this, and it's not just the last 4 games. The Oilers have not played good defensively since they beat Vancouver 6-2, and I think that's 13 games ago. So Struds, for me, they're slow learners because it's the same problems that are costing them hockey games.
Yeah, you just threw a grenade on the show because there's a lot that you opened up there, and but it's a big headline. So what I'm going to say is that they're in a real funk right now. They're in a real funk would be my headline, and they look to me like there's no juice out there. You know, a little bit of Hyman kind of going at Cernak. But, you know, you think at some point you're just like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to run somebody here. I'm going to fight someone, like just to turn the game over, right? To get things going a little bit, get people invested, because it looks to me like they're kind of going through the motions. And that carries into different parts of your game. And I know he didn't ask this, but Brownie brought it up. So I want to talk about the very first shift of the first and second period. The first shift, Bouchard gets the puck, comes around the net. And to be fair, and I know Brownie would disagree, there was no winger on the wall. So Bouchard didn't have an out. So instead, he tries to make the hero pass through someone who has a stick in the lane. Tampa's well coached. They have their sticks in the lane. The play there is to bounce it off the wall where the forward's supposed to be, and it'll bounce back off to, I think, I want to say it was either Hyman or McDavid there. For sure McDavid, I might be wrong. But that's where Bouchard, I'm not saying this to pick on Bouchard, but that is where he is at and the team is at. They're just not sharp because the play is not there. Tampa's well coached. You can't pass it through there. Then it started the second period. So now we get it out there and they kind of comes into their zone, comes back to Tampa, now all the way back down. And who is it? Hagel, I think, brings it all the way around the net, takes it all the way around, and he doesn't get across in time, Skinner. And then Bouchard is very lackadaisical in getting his stick there. You need to meet that player on the other side of your stick on the post so he can't get it by and stop it. Do you want to know how I know that? Because Ryan McDonough did it to Arvidsson not long after. He met him on the other side, put that puck, the puck went right up into the top. So it can be done. In the same game we saw it. So again, I feel like it feels like I'm picking on Bouchard, but those are the lack of intensity we're seeing and the lack of decision making we're seeing. And again, it's him twice, but unfortunate for Bouchard fans. But that's where the game is for the Oilers are at right now, guys. Long headline as well. Sorry.
Okay, can I just go on that? So both of those are the first shifts of periods.
Yes,
and everyone
first
knows that the
shift.
first shifts, that sets the tone for the period. On that play, the goal that starts the second period, Ekholm stood up on the defenseman at the blue line. Now, when that happens, when Hagel goes in, that's Bouchard's man. Bouchard's got to go after Hagel in the corner. That's his guy. That's not Ekholm's. Ekholm stood up at the blue line. Bouchard doesn't. He backs off. Then, if I'm coming around the net, everything you're looking peripheral. So if I'm Hagel, I'm coming around the net. If I see in my peripheral, if I see the color of the opposition, his skates, his pants, his socks, I take it wider because I know that guy is cut it off. So I'm coming around because you're trying to find the net, you're trying to find the puck. So it's all peripheral vision. So if Bouchard goes straight to the back post, Hagel's going to continue into the corner and he's now going to look for a trailer. But Bouchard doesn't do that. Bouchard skates about 5 feet away from the net and then casually puts his stick down. And I know there's Bouchard lovers, but that is why the Bouchard opposite side, the Bouchard haters, that's what they're going to point out. It's just a casual play, but it's a casual play to start the game. It's a casual play to start the second period. You can't have that on a team that's struggling like the Edmonton Oilers are.
And they started in the third period as well. I couldn't believe that they started in 3 period. I'm like, guys, it's enough. Like at some point, you got to put someone else out there to start the period. I'm sorry, guys. And I don't mean for this to be a Bouchard thing, but we are talking about it. But again, this is the microcosm of what is going on with the Oilers is his play. But I wouldn't have started for the third period. Gal, hang up and listen.
Yeah, no, I think you guys outlined that wonderfully. Honestly, I would way rather a guy throw a pizza up the middle from the corner trying to make a play than that play Evan Bouchard made on that goals. Guys, I'm not exaggerating. I think that's one of the worst plays I've ever seen from Evan Bouchard. It was that inexcusable and bad. There was a lack of, attention to detail. There was a lack of awareness that he needed to cut the guy off originally. A lack of intensity to get over to the side of the net and just put a little bit of weight on your stick. He just kind of put his stick there in this token fashion. And then did you notice? His toes were pointed up ice. He wasn't even committed to owning that space. He was so perimeter and so soft in that moment. It was one of the worst plays I've ever seen from Evan Bouchard. And so, we've been talking way too much lately about these types of plays from him. He's not the only one, but boy, has it ever been a common theme from a guy who plays that many minutes. So there was that. There was the turnover, not being ready to go early in a game. All kinds of opportunity thrown his way over and over and over and over and over again. Chris Knoblauch has no choice now but to be in the territory where Evan Bouchard needs to get benched if this kind of thing continues. I don't think we're in healthy scratch territory yet, and I don't think Knoblauch is that aggressive, and they need Bouchard to get out of this. But if Evan Bouchard doesn't show up with the requisite intensity level to play, you have to start sitting him. You have to do it for his own good. You have to do it for the good of the team. Players cannot continue to watch this guy over and over and over again make these uncommitted plays and just get rolled out there constantly. This coach has no choice now. He's pushed it too far, Struds, to be allowed to continue this without some consequence.
Wow, starting the third period, my eyes hit the screen.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Like tough first shifts, the first two, and I get they're your top pairing, but just quietly, hey, Nurse and Emerson, you guys start. Okay, great. Let's just switch it up.
Yeah.
Like just something to say. It's time. It's time to just change things up. So I guess my intention wasn't for Bouchard to get this to be a Bouchard start, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
No, it had to. It had to, Struddy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is if you want to shift the focus a little bit, I also think it needs to be said, Stuart Skinner needs to make a better play there. It's a critical point in the game. It's a wraparound. Everybody knows it's a wraparound.
Yeah.
I watched that thing 10 times. He stumbles on the post and is slow getting across. Stuart Skinner has to be better in that moment. They need that save from that goalie at that point in time. And it's been too many nights where Stuart Skinner, and generally speaking, it involves a lateral play, is not getting there in time and not making a save that his team needs him to make. Now, did he bail Bouchard out earlier in the game? Of course. Did he make lots of really good saves tonight? Yes. Was he the main problem? Absolutely not. But if we're going to crap all over Evan Bouchard for not being ready in that moment, Skinner didn't do his job there either, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I'm going to challenge you there. He shouldn't even have to. Shouldn't even have to make a save there. And again, I'll go back to Ryan McDonough.
Why bother pushing across then, Struds? Why bother even trying to push across?
He should walk that side down. He should be able to light up a cigarette on the far side, knowing that
he needs to get there.
What is that, Demorier Light? No, that's Lucky Strikes. He should be able to do whatever he wants, because do you want to know why? Ryan McDonough did it to Arvidsson. He saved a goal. So it can be done. It can be done.
I'm going to go a little against you. I'm going to go a little against you on this one, simply because if you watch on the play, Bouchard's supposed to go at Hagel. That's the play. He didn't. And Bouchard moved to the middle. Now he's making Skinner have to respect the fact that Hagel could actually come to the net, because he knows Bouchard's not going to stop him. So Hagel came towards the net. Skinner has to stay there, and he freezes. Because Bouchard didn't do his job. So he just made it that much harder. So I don't think he had that much space, Brownie. I don't think Hagel was a net front threat. I don't think he was. He certainly was with Bouchard there. Yes, he was.
I don't think he was.
Zuby, you look it up there.
Hop in here, Zuby. You watched it a few times too. You've played the position. What do you think?
I mean, it's a bad goal. I understand what Struddy's saying too, and you hope your guy, if he sees Bouchard there, he hopes Bouchard is going right to that post to cut that play off. But there's no doubt it's a delayed push. It's awkward, and that push off the post. That's the easiest push to get across quickly, because you've got that push off the post. You've got that ground there to zip across fast. So it's a bad goal at a bad time, and certainly it's not 100%. I do agree. I mean, Bouchard, it's a misplay. You want him driving hard to that post and making a play on that guy, but it's not a good goal to me.
Much worse play by Bouchard to me on the play, but I think Skinner's got to have that, and I think that goal right there is a bit of a microcosm. Two guys who have shown to be so good for this team at times, both struggling right now to find their game. And you see it out of both of them on that very goal right there. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox, because Chris Knobloch did address this. Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning, they're offering 10% off any new furnace installed before March 1st. If you need to replace your furnace because it is getting a little bit unreliable and you want a newer, better model that's more efficient, mention you heard it on Got Your Back. When you book your estimate, you'll receive 10% off your new furnace price. Visit weiss-johnson.com today.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
All right, one of these two clips is Chris Knobloch, and then a follow-up question about that second goal. Just let me check here.
Turnover in the neutral zone.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, his comment was, we're a fragile group right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Speck asked him to explain that. We've got both clips, but here's the second one.
Yeah. I think everyone's a little discouraged, a little hard. Obviously, they put a lot of pressure on themselves to win, and they view themselves as one of the best in the league. And, we got to put those adversity moments behind us and grow on those and be able to respond and push back.
What did you think of that second goal? It seemed like a turning point in the hockey game. Goalie doesn't get across perhaps fast enough. Your defenseman doesn't play it hard enough. What do you see as a coach?
Loose puck, just east-west. I'm not saying it's a terrible goal. It's one you want him to make more times than not. Yeah, I think he made a lot of big saves tonight. The second one, it was tough, especially at the time of the game. I thought we come out against a team that's playing really well right now in their building, 1-1. And then that happens the first shift. It's deflating. Turnover in the neutral zone. Obviously, they capitalize on that right away. And then, we're a fragile group right now. And we just a little reluctant to play our game. And confidence is a little hard right now.
How do you get out of that fragility?
What do you make of that, Struds? We're a fragile group right now from the head coach.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they're looking for bad things to happen. I think that they're unsure of themselves when they're shooting. I felt as I watched it tonight, and I'll defer to Brown in this one. I felt that they were looking for perfect shots and or passes rather than just hammering on it. If your name is Brown, Paul Colson, Henrique, you shoot the puck at the net. You don't have to look for another better shot. Like we haven't been, in that room. Like we haven't been scoring, guys. Let's get it there, Brownie.
Well, actually, and we didn't want to heap on Bouchard, but Bouchard, if you ask anyone that's ever watched an Oiler game once and said, okay, that number 2 for Edmonton, what is his biggest strength? Every single person is going to say shot. That's what he's got his nickname, Bouchard Bomb. He has a 2-on-1 in this hockey game. He's coming down. He's 15 feet from the net. He's on a 2-on-1 with Podkolzin. Podkolzin, if you ask him what his strengths are, physicality, forechecking, being tenacious, you do not talk about offensive prowess. Bouchard has a 2-on-1. He comes in, he's 15 feet away from the net, and he tries passing the puck to Podkolzin. Why? That made no sense to me at all. If that's Connor or Leon, maybe you can look away from shooting. Anyone else on the team, you shoot the puck, Evan Bouchard. Your team is struggling to score goals. Take a slap shot from 15 feet out. I don't care, but get the puck on net. But for him to force a pass to Podkolzin, I love everything about Podkolzin except his hands. And so to go what you just said, Struds, this is a team right now that it seems like every decision they're making is the wrong one.
Yeah.
And on that play right there, and there's a bunch of other plays too, where they don't look in sync. And I'm getting texts all the time from buddies like, this team does not look like the same team we saw a month ago. And they're not. And this isn't just from the Four Nations breakout. It's just not the last 3 games. This is 13, 14 games. The Oilers have not played well since they won 6-2 against the Vancouver Canucks. Since then, they've won some games against teams that were not good, and they got fortunate breaks in those games, but they have not been a good hockey club now in 13 games.
All right, well said, Brownie. We have lots more to break down from this game. We're going to push some of that into the second segment, including the coach. A few comments, a few observations about what's going on with Chris Knobloch right now. We'll get to that in our next segment. Also, a clarification on some information we gave you last night with regard to Evander Kane, and a little bit of an update on what we think the situation might be moving forward with Evander Kane. So that's coming up in the next segment. But for right now, Struddy, let's get to our UCAN Youth Services Relentless Player. Their annual comedy nights are coming up. I'm fired up. Going to be awesome coming up in March here. And there's multiple ways you can help support youth in the community through that event. You purchase tickets or a table for one of those great comedy nights, or you can donate items or experiences as well to be featured in the silent auction. Your support makes all the difference. To donate or grab your tickets, you can visit ucan.ca. One of the silent auction items we're going to put in is we'll have you out to morning skates, to one of the games, some tickets, a little tour of the press box. You get to meet some of the media personalities working on the game. So working in conjunction with my Sportsnet friends for some of that. So that's just one of many awesome silent auction items that are going to be available at the comedy nights coming up, presented by UCAN. Struddy, who's got the relentless player tonight, bud?
Well, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but didn't you also talk about someone get a free hour ride on your elliptical machine?
That thing's never been used for a full hour before. It would start smoking.
I'm volunteering you for a 36-hole day of golf in the simulator with somebody.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'd get in there and swing away. Swing away.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
I hear you're a swinger. Yeah.
Get my 18 steps in. Okay. Relentless player. I'm trying to go positive here today. I'm going with Leon Draisaitl. 6 games in a row, the guy scored. Offensively right now, he looks like a bit of a freedom fighter. Not a lot of goals going in for this team. So Leon gets it 6 goals in a row, 43 goals for the big guy.
And he's dominant. He's by far the Oilers' best player right now, and it's not even close. And possibly and probably the best player in the National Hockey League right now. It's amazing what he's done with a team that is not scoring goals, line mates that aren't creating any offense, yet he continues to plow on. So good on Leon Draisaitl, who I now believe, is he tied for the scoring lead now or one off? He's one or the other. He's right there with
We'll take a
McDavid
look
now.
here. Yeah, we'll take a look here in a sec and get that. Yeah, McDavid, 1 goal in his last 8 games. I think he's got 6 assists, minus 12 in his last 5 games. Yeah, the production's been interesting here for McDavid. Obviously, he's played a lot of hockey, elevated tremendously through the 4 nations, but was searching for it a little before the break and has come back now, trying to regain his energy, trying to find it. I know he was sick through that tournament too, so not easy for him. He's dealing with some stuff, I think, but certainly not to the standard that he would like it to be at either. All right, Zuby, hop in. Let's lighten the mood a little. You got a bit of a goofy poll going there, brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. If you're fired up for the upcoming season, 2025 equipment from TaylorMade, Ping, and Callaway are arriving at DeBoer's. Get ahead of the fitting rush and schedule your appointment today, located at 5311 99th Street at Edmonton. Zuby sends me a text, guys. He's like, I feel like we should lighten the mood with our poll tonight. Probably a good call, buddy.
Yeah, so I dug into the vault of movie and TV quotes here to try to put into words in a different way how folks might be feeling about their level of panic, let's call it, of the Oilers season right now. So this is the question: which movie or TV quote best describes your level of panic regarding the Oilers right now? We got Hakuna Matata, everything's cool, no worries. I got a bad feeling about this. The third choice is we're going to need a bigger boat. And the final choice, threat level midnight. Midnight, people.
Michael Scar.
That's from The Office. That's from The Office. That's
Michael Scar.
Agent Michael Scarn's screenplay that he wrote.
Love it. All right. Fire in your votes, and during our Ask Us Anything segment, we will get to the results. But an assumption that everybody is panicking, Zuby, probably a safe one. Given the mess.
Not unless they're misjudging the levels of the answers. People aren't panicking quite as much as you might think.
All right. Lots more to break down here. Our takeaway segment is coming up next, along with a bunch of other quality stuff. So stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. Right back.
Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
Yes, time now for our takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Kick off next year's sledding season in style on a new 2026 Skidoo snowmobile. The 2026 Skidoo lineup was just unveiled, and you can reserve your ride at Martin Motorsports. Order your 2026 sled by the 31st of March, and you get an exclusive 4-year warranty on select models. Visit Martin Motorsports today on the south or west Edmonton side of town, or online at martinmotorsports.com. Rolling right along here on Got Your Back, gentlemen. Want to talk a little bit about something that I think is somewhat concerning here the last little bit. I think that we have complimented Chris Knobloch many times on this show about having a really nice touch with this group. Kind of always understanding what is needed at a given moment, which guys to elevate. He'll do things sometimes and we kind of raise our eyebrows and we're like, what? Generally it works. I would say through this stretch and even a little bit before the break, I'm noticing Chris Knobloch is having a tougher time figuring out what adjustments are needed in a given moment. That touch isn't necessarily there in the same way. A couple of examples. We were all raising our eyebrows big time at line combinations the other day, elevating Kapanen and Podkolzin into a top line, I think it was. I am confused about why Jeff Skinner has been healthy scratched. He scored a goal last game. Victor Arvidsson took a bad penalty and cost his team, and he finds himself on the top line. Skinner has been a pretty decent even strength contributor here for some time now, but rather than lean into it and see if he can actually do what he was brought here to do, they go the other way and bench him. So I was confused about that. And then, by the way, also confused why, after a big long break, John Klingberg plays in back-to-back games and then sits this one. Why would you not play him in one of those two games, give him a rest, and play him in today's game? So I'm not sure if they were testing him out or what, but just things that I feel like he normally would just be dead to rights on. He's been a little off, Struddy, a little off for me for the head coach.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, and there's been a lot of changes. I will give him this, though. You know, let's name 3 players that are really going right now.
Leon?
I'm sorry, I'll wait.
Leon. I mean,
Nice.
how have
Do you
we
say
felt?
Leon in a different language?
Yeah, how have we felt about Nurse lately?
Actually, Nurse has been fine.
You know,
He's
so
been
let's do this. Let's leave the D-men out of it because D-men are a little bit different, right? Like you can kind of, I hate to say this, you can have not a lot of energy and still play a good game as a D-man. But as a forward, of all the forwards, you know, I think Leon's a fair one. I think Savoy's been good, but I don't really want to include him in this group because it's a little bit he should be playing good. He's young and he's excited, right? But let's go through it. Like, you know, Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Kapanen, Henrique.
Arvidsson, Henrique,
Arvidsson.
Brown. Yep.
Well, in all honesty, it'd be Leon and Jeff Skinner. That's the funny part. It'd be Skinner's the one that's been noticing positive.
You're kind of making my point a little, Struds. Like, there aren't many guys going. Why bench one of the ones it is?
Right. No, and I mean, I've advocated for Skinner to go up, but he's not. So I think this is where we're at. But I guess my point is for him, you're trying to find some kind of chemistry or spark to get more guys going. Because right now, I think it'd be fair to say less than half the forwards are going. Right. So you're trying to get any kind of connection you can. You know, even, you know, tonight when they put Leon and Connor and Hyman together, there was some spark there, but not the usual kind of complete domination. Now, Tampa's got some pretty good players too, so got to be careful. But we've seen that line dominate everyone, at any time. Brownie.
Well, and I understand what you're saying, Schauger, and I agree. I mean, Connor McDavid comes back from playing on a line with Marner and Point, and 48 hours later, he's playing with Kapanen and Podkolzin. That made no sense at all to me. When things are going as sideways as they have, and they have for quite a while now, why not just set up what you planned at the beginning of the season and give it a run?
Yeah.
I mean, you go with Connor, Hyman, and Nuge, then go with Arvidsson, Skinner, and Draisaitl, and then go with Henrique, blah, 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 Brown and Janmark, or Savoy, whoever you want there. But go with that and play 3 games in a row with them and see what you have. Like, just give it a little bit of runway before you get to the trade deadline to see where you are, because we're not seeing. There's a couple other things too with Knobloch. The game against Washington, that game was done. It was the 7-3. Actually, it flattered the Oilers. That was not a 7-3 game. So when the game is over, why is Savoy getting 10 minutes? He had the least amount of minutes. He was one of the few guys that we noticed. Give him 16 minutes. Double shift him the whole third period, because the game is over. Give him opportunities to see what he's capable of doing. So, Shagar, yeah, I agree with you on those points. And to add to it, and Strud's talked about it, Bouchard, the first two shifts of the game, first shift of first shift of second, huge mistakes. I agree with. How does he start the third period? That's another one
Now,
that you
would that be more coffee? Like, is Paul Coffey deciding who's starting the beginning of a period, or would they discuss that in the break, and that's Knobloch's call who to start the period? I don't know the dynamic between a head coach and a D coach in between periods for who starts.
Well, that'd be Knobloch's call.
Yeah,
and
he's
you talk about it. But I mean, listen, not even to punish him. Just say, you know what? Let's just take him out. Let's just put someone else out there. It hasn't. The first two shifts have been tough. And I'm going to try somebody else.
Yeah. Do you guys remember what I said a few shows ago when Bouchard was brutal and it was another pile-on because it was just one of those nights? And maybe Brownie wasn't on it, Struds. Remember when I said, like, lean into him next game? That's what you got to do. You put him back in, you go to him, you lean into him. And if he's garbage, you put him back in and you lean into him. You just got to lean into this player right now until he shows you have no choice but to start with the discipline and he is now there. Like Knobloch did that. The last couple of games after a terrible performance, they've leaned into him and they reached that point. And I love your point, Struds. It was probably in the third period was the time to send that message and truly do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a veteran player. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt, but like everyone has, let's just pretend this was a one-off. I wouldn't have started in the third period. Like his first two shifts in the first, it just, we're just going to change it up. We're just going to change it up. And again, even if he'd been playing great for 10 games in a row, I'd say this isn't his night.
Oh, and to go on that, Struz, just to take it away, because right now it sounds like it's because it's Bouchard. If the Oilers started Henrique's line in the first period and they got hemmed in the entire first shift, and then they started the second period 100%. And they got scored on 30 100%. Seconds in, we're not starting Henrique's line in the third period. Like it's that simple. No. So it's not because it's Bouchard that Strudge is saying this. And just to go one more point about what you were talking, Shagar, with coaching. And this is why I've said since probably early December that Jeff Skinner will not start game 83 for the Edmonton Oilers. Even when he had his little stretches, I've said it all along, this coaching staff has no trust for him. They don't. And I think if you want a perfect example, Jeff Skinner was one of the positives in the game in Washington. Like he actually was noticeable in a positive way. And as you said, Arvidsson takes the dumb penalty. He's on the first line and Jeff Skinner is in the press box. So that's why I've stuck with it the entire time. I do not believe Jeff Skinner will start the playoffs for the Edmonton Oilers if everyone's healthy, because he is not in a favorable spot with this coaching staff.
Quite frankly, Brownie, they don't have the luxury of having a blind spot like that. They just don't. So regardless of what Jeff Skinner did earlier in the year to put him in that spot, you'd lost 3 in a row heading in. You had lineup decisions to make. He's a guy that likes numbers. He's a guy that likes to look at who's done what lately. And Jeff Skinner, everything says, not only does everything say he should be in the lineup, Struds and I were debating whether or not he should come back in the top 6 after the break based on the way he finished. We felt he probably should. Now, they call up Savoy and they want to give him a look, and that's gone well, so fine. But they cannot afford to have a blind spot and ignore the results that a player is putting out there for. They cannot afford that. I'm not sure where it's coming from. I'm not sure why. He should have been in the lineup tonight. They should be giving him the opportunity to build off of quality play. What kind of a message is that to send to a guy? He's building in the right direction, and he ends up healthy scratched in favor of guys making mistakes and costing their team. This is not healthy recourse. Like this system of checks and balances and accountability, Jay Woodcroft got into all kinds of trouble with this because he could never figure out a way to hold his group accountable. Now, that went on for longer, but this is a time now where I think things need to start making more sense, and some more tough love is needed for this group because they're way better than this. Way better than this. And I think Knobloch can pull some levers here and slam on some buttons, but I think it's got to be a little bit tougher along the way here, Struds. I think that needs to start across the board, not just 2.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree there too much. And honestly, I think even more so than sitting guys out, I think you reward guys who are playing well with more ice time.
Yeah.
And I think
That's the
whoever
easy
it is.
part. That's
But
the easy
whoever,
part.
Yeah, but whoever it is. So if I know I personally got frustrated when someone was going and the coach wouldn't moving up, I'm like, this guy's doing great. Like, give him a chance. Like, at least he's got it tonight. Let's use this guy and abuse him. So I think that the ice time might be a bit more of a marker than the sitting out.
Yeah, I agree. And Skinner should have played. Skinner honestly should have been on the first line. Connor McDavid has 0 5-on-5 goals in what, 5 games, 6 games? Put Skinner on the first line. He actually has some. So I agree. Skinner should have played tonight and should have played. He should have been in the top 6.
I think he's going to. I think Chris Knobloch is smart. I think they've
think so.
I'm not talking about the first line. Sorry. I mean, I could see this coach now being ready to ratchet up the temperature on the fellas. I could really see that. I think he has it in him, and I think we're going to see that here moving forward. I think he's probably at the end of his rope, and he's shown he can do it before. He benched Leon Draisaitl earlier on this season after things had gotten too far. So we know he's got it in him. I think it's time. Guys, I want to circle back on the Evander Kane conversation from last night. First of all, a correction. It was brought up whether or not Evander Kane could go down to the American Hockey League for a conditioning stint. And at the time, we had said we believed he was on their cap when he did that. That is not, in fact, the case. You send a player down for the conditioning stint, doesn't have to be active on your cap. So just want a quick correction on that point right there. But, guys, I sent a tweet tonight after the first intermission. Little bit of clarity here on perhaps what this looks like for the Oilers, from Stan Bowman and his standpoint. This is the way I think this is going to work. Just before the trade deadline, I think the Oiler doctors are going to evaluate Evander Kane, right? See how he's doing because he's skating every day, improving every day. They'll make an evaluation at that point, and then they'll make a recommendation to Kane and to Stan Bowman, and they'll say, this is what we believe his projected return date is. If that projected return date is before the regular season, it's over. That's it. The Oilers will not spend that money. If he is trending towards, if the doctors say he can get back before the end of the season, then I think Stan Bowman will just stand pat. If the doctors say it will probably be first week of playoffs or later, then I think you'll see Stan Bowman spend the money. So what I'm saying is a lot of this is going to come down to what the team doctor's analysis is of when he will be back. Because if the team doctors say we're going to clear him by potentially late March, it's done. If the team doctors say we're not going to clear him until, based on what we're seeing, second week of April or third week of April, then that's a different story. So really this is going to come down to what the team doctors say after evaluating Evander Kane just before the trade deadline, Brownie.
Yeah, but that's more or less what we thought. I mean, they will know. Stan Bowman will know. The doctors will talk to him. And, I mean, I don't think that's any surprise. It's not as though we were thinking, they're probably just going to guess. So we knew the doctors were going to be involved.
Well, no, Brownie, but I think a lot of people are sitting there assuming that this is already cooked, that it's already done. Everybody knows he's not coming back, wink, wink. And they're going to use the LTIR room like we've seen in other markets. I think that's kind of the point of what I'm saying here. Like this thing is not cooked. It's not.
I don't think. No, I certainly don't think that. Well, we said last night. I think Kane's going to come back before the season ends. I really do. I think that's my gut feeling with zero inside information. I don't think he will sit out until the playoffs. I think he will be back somewhere before the season ends. What do you think, Struds?
It's a long road back, man, to be ready. I don't know. If he just started skating a few days ago, that feels like a long way back because he hasn't skated at all to be ready in 7 weeks or 6 weeks. I think it's more likely he comes back in the playoffs. I understand what you're saying, but I'm just looking from the physical part and being ready. I just have a hard time believing he could be ready physically in time.
I think he's going to try. I mean, I think the goal is to get there, and the goal is to get in. We'll see what happens with any potential conditioning stints and such, but I think the goal is to try and get there. And they're just going to have to wait and see what the doctors say right before trade deadline. But Oiler fan, brace yourself for Stan Bowman kind of having his hands tied at trade deadline and it being a money out, money in proposition for him. So for those of you that are saying they need to go get a goalie, okay, how? Like, how's that going to work? Because they're going to have money going in the other direction. You want to go get a top 6 forward? Okay. How's that going to work? Because you're going to have money going in the other direction. So it might get pretty tricky here if the analysis on Kane is he might be back.
Well, and also the one goaltender everyone's talking about is that Utah goaltender. Utah's not out of the playoffs. I mean, they're getting healthy right now and winning some hockey games. They're not out of the playoffs, and that goaltender would be a big part of it. So I don't know if he'll even be available for all the people that want him here. And he's good. They won again tonight in another low-scoring hockey game. So the one thing that's going on right now in the league, there's a lot of teams that still believe they have a chance to make the playoffs. So there's going to be fewer sellers at the deadline, which means players are going to be at a premium. It means they're going to cost more.
Yeah. All right. That was our takeaways brought to you by Martin Motor Sports. All right. When we come back, Struds, you going serious, or are you having some fun at Struddy's World? Just want to brace everybody.
We're in it'll be a fun one. I'm inspired today from what I saw out in the wilderness.
Okay. All right. So we're going to lighten and brighten up the mood a little bit. Brownie Points is always an absolute delight in the show. And sounds like Struddy's going to take it easy on everybody. So a great segment coming up here on Got Your Back. Stay with us, everybody.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. They have locations in Calgary and Edmonton. So if you are a contracting business or a contractor yourself, let DLR help you add vinyl fence to your product line for your customers. Reliable, unmatched service, high-quality North American-made products. Check them out online. It's my brothers, Rick and Rob Rishaug. Visit DLRvinylproducts.ca. Jason?
Yeah, I love this time of year when it starts melting and you can feel the warmth on your back. Took the dog for a walk today. And, I walked by my neighbors. There's water, everywhere, laying everywhere. And then you see, people trying to push it with a shovel or whatever. Then you see the engineer, the ice engineer with the ice pick, and he's carving a river through the ice so that water can drain into an outlet. And I just walk by and I kind of give the guy the knowing nod, like, yeah, you're on it, big guy. Then you walk a little further, you see someone else doing the same thing, just draining water. It brings me so much joy to see others doing it because I love doing it. I love cutting, and we ever live in a cul-de-sac, and I haven't been out there yet, but cutting or carving a path towards that outlet so the water can drain. You feel like you're changing the world, maybe not in the greatest sense, but in your little area of the world, you are changing the world. So all you people that are ice engineers moving that water around, thank you. I salute you. And I get it. I love what you're doing out there because I love it too.
Did you say you haven't done it yet at your place? You're driving around like giving everyone the knowing nod and you haven't done it yet?
I haven't. It's a long story, but someone came in and like they hired in our little area. I don't know who does it. Maybe the community, but they shoveled a ton of stone, put it in a big pile in the middle of our cul-de-sac. Yeah. So ours is actually dry. So the water's actually been moving pretty well. I haven't had to get out there yet, but maybe tomorrow I'll go out there for no reason. Just carve ice, man. I love it.
I've let my friend
concept of this. Yeah.
Well, no, I do. I let my friend the sun do it. A sun in the sky melts it, and that's how the water gets away from mine. The ice just bye-bye. Sometimes it takes a little longer, usually into May
Yeah.
or June, but eventually my driveway does get dry.
You don't like seeing that huge pool? There's that huge pool in the corner. You're like, I know where the drain is. I'll got it. I look around the neighborhood like, I got it. No one even cares, but I'm out there doing it. But that one guy driving by, he gives you the, hey man, nice work. I love that feeling. That's why I give it to other people. I see that.
Nobody's ever given me that look or that nod, Struts. Although I have my neighbors will go out sometimes in our rubber boots and we'll just stare at it for a while. Like, ooh, that's a lot of water. What are we going to do? I don't know. Hopefully someone smarter comes along.
Emma Terry says, well, la-dee-da, Mr. Cul-de-sac from Emma Terry.
Yeah.
Ronnie Oceanfront wondering, Struds, have you ever used a tiger torch to do this, par chance?
I don't even know what a tiger torch is. So no, I
take it up a level.
I just use an ice pick and then just my own ingenuity, right? Like a MacGyver of ice movement.
I think we all have the same ice pick, right? The brown wood handle, like the brown wood handle and the old rusted. Right. Somebody needs to make a better mousetrap. I do not like chipping ice because those ice chippers are garbage. They need like some sort of a grip that's a little bit better. Like maybe it's like a rubber grip or something. These old ones, you get splinters from them. They're not comfortable to use. They're hard on the back. I don't like using the ice chipper on the thick ice out there, Struds. Someone needs to create a better mousetrap here.
I don't even know where to start. They've been using this for 1,000 years.
That's my point.
The same day that they lit a fire, someone built the ice pick. And you're complaining about it? I mean, geez, what's next? You want to change the wheel? You don't like the wheel?
Oil Leak says there's a chipper with a spring. It's nice to use. See, Oil Leak? That I'd be willing to look into and see. It's I don't know, just like pounding with the thing, and it's your hands slip on it because it's super slippery because it's overused. There's no grip on it. You got to put like grip tape on it or something. That's
honestly,
my one pet peeve on this.
Yeah.
Schauger, is your ice pick really overused?
Yeah, I know. Randine uses it.
Is it?
He's got to pick the slivers out of Randine's hands.
Great job, hun. It's really did a great job with that. All right, that was a pleasant Struddy's World brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. All right, I don't know if he'll be given or taking brownie points away tonight after that performance, but Zuby, roll the music. Let's get to those brownie points. Brought to you by our good buddies over at Hamel's Premium Jerky. Love them. Local company up in Cold Lake. They ship anywhere in Alberta. Right now they got a deal. 2 pounds of jerky for $70. You get a free bonus quarter-pound mystery flavor pack. Free shipping Alberta-wide. AlbertaJerky.com. Use the code GotYourBack. Gets you 10% off. We've been up to the shop in Cold Lake. It's just great stuff. Brought a bunch home with us. Threw it in the freezer. Every once in a while we take out a ring or some of the jerky. It's just really, really good stuff. And it's made by an awesome local company. So highly recommend Hamel's Premium Jerky Brownie.
Well, I'm not. There's actually 0 Oilers involved with brownie points today. We're going a different direction. Okay. I've got three brownie points to Luka Doncic, the big trade in the NBA a few years ago. It was so big a trade, this Dallas Laker trade, that it made Struddy's World. That's how big a trade this was. The young superstar went to LA. Tonight they played each other for the first time. And Luka's new team beat up on the Mavs. The Lakers win, and Luka responds with a triple-double, more or less saying, up yours, Dallas Mavericks, trading me away. I am a superstar. So good for Luka. He made brownie points. I've got 8 brownie points to Dean Evison, as he has his Columbus Blue Jackets in 8th in the spot in the East. They're in the playoffs right now. This is a team that's gone through the death of Johnny Gaudreau, a number of big injuries on that team. Their captain was hurt long-term, yet they've still found a way to be ahead of the Rangers, the Bruins, the Islanders, all teams that are perennial playoff teams. If they make the playoffs, the Blue Jackets, I hope they do. If they make the playoffs, he will get some love for Coach of the Year. It's probably going to the guy for Washington. But Dean Evison has done an absolutely incredible job with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I got 0 brownie points to the Lightning checking line led by Team Canada players Cirelli and Hagel that gave the Oilers' best players 0 5-on-5 opportunities. Head-to-head all night with 97, then 97 and 29 in the third. They were excellent. And now you know why John Cooper and the management team brought in Sorelli and Hagel for Team Canada. They were excellent. They were dominant. There were 2 or 3 shifts where they went against Leon and Connor, and they hemmed them in. Leon and Connor couldn't get out of their own zone, so those 2 were fantastic in this game. I got 7 brownie points to the Eastern Conference, where there are now 7 teams within 5 points of the playoff spot. What it's going to do is it's going to make players very scarce. There's a lot of teams that still believe they can make the playoffs, certainly out east. That means more teams in a playoff race means less teams available and more teams looking to upgrade. That means it's going to be very expensive come trade deadline. You want someone, you're going to be bidding against more teams than you usually are. And finally, the last one, I got 9 brownie points to Team Canada and Florida Panthers star Sam Bennett. After winning gold and contributing a goal and 6 hits in the final tonight, Bennett has a Gordie Howe hat trick. He had a goal, he had an assist, he had a fight. Sam Bennett took a lot of heat for being picked for Team Canada. He ended up being fantastic in the final, and he's gone back. I believe he scored his 19th of the season, and the Edmonton Oilers get to see Sam Bennett and his Florida Panthers in a couple days. But good old Canadian boy Sam Bennett had a Gordie Howe hat trick tonight. And those, my friends, are my brownie points.
Needs a contract, doesn't he, Struds? Isn't Bennett up?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be pricey, man. That's good. And then Florida, I mean, I think they need D. You know, they lost, what's the Oliver Ekman-Larsson and
Montour.
Montour, to Seattle. Yeah. So I think, you know, do you spend your money on Bennett, who's really good, or do you try to get, you know, another D or 2?
I think you got to keep Bennett, though, for the playoff run, even if he's not signed. He's that good. He's that good in a playoff.
You know what all the scuttlebutt out there is, though? All the scuttlebutt out there is Brady being brought in. That's what all the scuttlebutt is. Brady Tkachuk being brought in eventually. That it'll be fait accompli with Ottawa, and there'll be the brothers united out there. So
I believe
maybe they'll be careful. Yeah. All right, that was Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Brownie, you brought it tonight. You did a great job. You showed up. You were ready to go right from the start. You were smooth with your handoffs. You made concise points. I thought you were excellent tonight, buddy. I thought you were really good. Probably the best one.
Well, I listened to the coaching staff. They told me that I got to be better. I got to work harder. They told me to simplify. I listened. I listened to Knobloch. I simplified tonight. So I appreciate that, guys.
Yep. Sounds good. So that means you'll be scratched for the next pod. See you, buddy.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, Rob Brown. All right, good stuff. All right, Struddy, let's keep rocking and rolling here, buddy. Let's see who might be taking a trip. Yes, trade deadline is on the way, and so we're going to identify some potential movers and shakers. Brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross. If you're planning a trip, if it's a dream vacation, quick winter escape, or a trip to watch your team play, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has got your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access, or a hotel if the delay is too much. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn some more. Struds, who are we looking at tonight, my friend?
Well, the Nashville Predators had a nightmare season, spent a bunch of cash in the offseason, brought in some studs, and it's just gone from some such excited heights down to just absolute trash of a season. I try not trying to be funny. It's just that's what the truth is. So they're going to be looking at moving players out. And Gustav Nyquist is a guy I think that, you know, could be of interest to some teams. Now, a couple challenges here. One, he is taking it off the chin with his goal share. Like it is really, really, really weak. He's in 36% of goal share, and that's pretty low, right? That's pretty low. His cap's number is $3.1 million. The Nashville Predators do have a spot to retain some salary, but even at $1.5 million, do I want to bring him in, or 1.6? I mean, he's got 10 goals, but I feel like his game has dropped off. Now, to be fair, I don't think there's a lot of centers in Nashville. I think they've got some wingers. I don't think they have a lot of centers, and that is a challenge. So, you know, I don't see this being a massive haul for this player. I think he might be getting, you know, a mid draft pick, maybe. And that I think that might include retention Schauger as well. But the interesting part is that Preds have 3 first rounders and 2 seconds in this upcoming draft. Like these guys aren't farking around with the draft picks. So he's done a good job of acquiring them. So again, I think it's maybe a mid pick here somewhere, and then they bring up one of their younger guys. I don't believe he's a fit for the Oilers, so don't look at that. I think they have this style of player already in their lineup.
Yeah, interesting one. He's been around a long time, man. 35 years of age. Had a good season last year. Hey, put up a good chunk of goals last year. Kind of, definitely showed. I question his ability to get around and how efficient and effective he'd be able to be, because I don't believe he's the fleetest of foot, but he's one of those veteran guys that he's smart and knows how to get around out there and can create, even though the numbers are down quite a bit this year.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. So I think if you're trained for this player, I think he's more of a depth add. He's not a featured player on it. Let me rephrase that. He's not going to be playing with featured players. I think he's a depth add on a team.
All right. Will Gustav Nyquist be taking a trip? We'll find out in the next week and a half or so. All right. Before we get to break, Struds, let's hop into our scoreboard, see what else is going on around the league. Brought to you by Canadian Club. The CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%, their highest proof CC Classic to date. It's a full-bodied whiskey, aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak, and it's got that great butterscotch finish that you love. Struds?
So 12 games today. Some weird matchups that no one really doesn't really matter, but there are some that I thought were really interesting. And no disrespect, you know what I mean? It was like a weak team, like the Ducks versus the Sabres. Let's not get, I don't think we're throwing a party over that one. The Flames, though, in Washington, and they get a huge win that moves them to a playoff spot. 3-1, they beat the Caps. Huge win, pushes Vancouver out. Ovechkin scores, so I believe that takes them down to 12 goals to break Gretzky, to tie or break Gretzky's record. And then Utah, we touched on a little bit. Utah defeated the Chicago Blackhawks 2-1. They had a ton of shots. Chicago didn't really, I think they had 21, 22 shots. They had the lead 1-0, but then it went sour after that. But Utah fighting for a playoff spot with Calgary and Vancouver in the Western Conference. And then lastly, Leafs Bruins, big game, 5-4 though. And in overtime, the hero for Team Canada with a nice pass, Mitch Marner, scores in overtime. I believe that was his second of the night. And that's a pretty big dogfight atop that division with the Leafs, the Bruins trying to get in the playoffs. You got Florida and you got Tampa, who moved up a little closer as well.
Like that win for the Leafs, right? Empty net goal, end up tying it. And then nice goal from Mitch Marner. He's had a few big moments in that building here in the last 5-6 days, buddy. Like that's a good feeling for the Toronto Maple Leafs to be getting into that building and coming back and raising their arms in the air and scoring goals and having big moments in that building. That's big for that group of players.
Really big. And I think that I truly believe that Mitch Marner will have debriefed himself from that experience, and I think he'll grow as a player. I truly believe that, because we've seen it with other elite players over the course of those international tournaments.
Yeah, well, they would definitely love that. That's for sure. Okay, you know what, Struds? Before we go to break, we're going to squeeze in one more segment. We got Ask Us Anything coming up. We'll take a trip in our next segment as well after the break. But right now, let's get to our Core Blue Liners segment, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, they've got your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, from creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements. HSE Core, supporting client operations every step of the way. HSECOR.com is their website. You're going with a wily veteran tonight, Struds. A wily veteran that just knows how to play the game and knows how to, shut it down when he needs to.
Yeah, you really just about nailed my whole thing there. And it was really good. Again, when I think of Ryan McDonough, I think of a guy who's very smart and understands how to play the game. Not the fastest, not the hardest shot, anything like that, but he's just really smart. His goal share is psychotic this year. He's doing a great job with that end of it. He is. We saw it tonight. We saw it on display. I talked about the play made on Arvidsson to reach around and get that puck deflected up when it looked like at least a good chance for a goal. There was a 2-on-1. Connor got a break with Leon, and he went down on his chest and smothered it and just laid there, right? It was a great play. He made so many shrewd plays, being in the right place, understanding what the other guy is trying to do, and defecting. So he's really, really, really smart. If you've never watched him play, I would compare him to Matthias Ekholm, right? Really smart players, just understand the game.
Feels like if you trade him, you almost immediately regret it because you end 100%. Up going back and getting him again, right? I mean, remember when he got moved? I mean, I think he figured he would be there for a long time, in Tampa, and ends up getting moved. And then what do the Lightning do? They turn around, realize, we lost too much when we lost that player and needed to go get him back, Struds. That says something when an organization reacquires you.
And he's been good for them, right? He's just a smart. He's been like that, right? You think back, I don't know why they traded in Montreal. In New York, he was a good player. Goes down to Tampa, he's a good player. Nashville, I don't know. The team wasn't, I don't know if it was the best, but he's just smart, understands the job, and does it well, consistently.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that was our Core Blue Liners segment brought to you by HSE Core Services. Quick break. We'll take a lap and ask us anything when we come back here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
All right, let's take a couple of laps around the league, shall we? Brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, they want to hear from you. One of Canada's original industrial contractors looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join their team and start building what matters today. Join Acon by sending your resume to trades@acon.com. That is trades@acon.com. They're looking for workers, so fire the resume in there and you never know. Okay, Struds, where should we go tonight around the league?
Well, I've touched on it a bit, but Barry Trotz today spoke, and he said, and I quote, "We're not going to tank. We're not going to tank it out." Now, they are near the tanking area. They're in third last.
Sure.
So it's not that far to go, but he spoke, and I liked what he said. He goes, we're about the culture. We want to try to create a culture where we strive to win. And there's no doubt that this year, this team hasn't worked as they expected. And I don't doubt there'll be some casualties somewhere in that organization, maybe on the ice as well. But, it sounds like he's just trying to read between the lines. He'll trade guy like Gustav Nyquist out, some of those preferred free players, but not rip the heart out of this to really try to go for the top pick. Right now, I think they're like they're third bottom, and it's like a 10% chance they get the top pick this year.
Stunning. When you think about the summer they had, Struds. You think about the narrative around July 1st and the additions and how aggressive they were. And Trotz, after all those years, finally has his hands on the wheel. And it's just like, just move after move and adding guys and bringing guys in. And now he's doing a press conference talking about not tanking to be dead last. Stunning how poorly it's gone there, considering the headlines.
Couldn't be worse. I mean, it literally, it could not have gone worse for them. And I'll say it again. I don't believe they have centers to play with their wingers. Their strength down the middle just isn't there. And that's all due respect to Ryan O'Reilly, who's not getting any younger. Follow that one up with an injury update. Minnesota Wild. It just feels like these guys cannot get and stay healthy. They have their Eriksson Ek is going to be out for week to week, maybe a few weeks. So the big centerman, I think this is like his 8th or 9th year, but he's a really good player. Really, really good player for them.
I liked him in the Four Nations. I thought he was good in that tournament too.
He was good. Yeah. So he's out. So, this team is, I think they're going to be a playoff team. I'm not going to say that, but their dream of maybe chasing down the Jets, obviously 13 points behind them. And then Dallas, who's 4 points in front of them, is probably going to be a little bit tough, but I mean, don't make no mistake. If you don't watch the Wild, this guy is really good player. Really, really good player.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big loss for them. And they've been without important players
for sure
all season long. I think at one point the Oilers played them and they were missing like 3 of their top 4 defensemen. Kaprizov has been coming and going from the lineup as well. So Billy Guerin, with all the cap issues that they've had there because of the big buyouts, he's done a pretty good job of icing a competitive team despite all of that, and yet still gets bit by the injury bug a ton. So they're right in the fight here, man. They're right in the fight here. And, but I don't know that they scare anybody, those Struds. I really don't. I don't know that they do, and I don't know that they have for a while. Yeah.
They don't score enough goals. And I think that's something that he'll be able to address because I think there's a lot of money coming off the board as far as I'm saying, dead cap space. And the increase in the cap, I think they'll be able to go out and address it. And I saw someone tell me a name to think about is Brock Besser. I believe he's from there. He's a free agent, and he can score.
Interesting, yeah.
So might be a fit there.
Interesting thought.
Might be a fit.
Yeah. Bring Brock home. All right, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by Acon. Zuby, hop in here, buddy. Let's wrap up our poll, our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll. Where did we land?
We asked which of these TV or movie quotes best describes your personal level of panic regarding the Oilers right now. To our friends on the stream here, we're going to need a bigger boat, 38%. So I think that's indicating folks hoping there's some changes coming. Han Solo's I got a bad feeling about this, 33%. Hakuna Matata actually came in third, 14% of the vote. Only 13% of folks have gone to threat level midnight. So,
okay.
So we're more in that in that mid-range level of concern. So,
all right, on. Well, good on you for having a little fun. I think Oilers fans, we tried to lighten the mood where we could. We had to bring the thunder tonight on a few fronts. We had no choice, so we had to lighten it up where we could. All right, let's get to you here on the live stream. Time now for Ask Us Anything. By the way, a great number on the show tonight. We really appreciate it. Throw us a thumbs up if you get a chance. We would appreciate that. So we get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies, an Edmonton-based independent electric wholesaler offering a wide range of products from lighting and lighting controls, wiring accessories, control and hazardous products. You name it, they probably have it. Check them out at bjelectric.ca. All right, Zuby, bring the mayhem.
And five gigantic thumbs down tonight for you guys bringing the heat on some of the players.
Oh, do we have thumbs down again tonight?
High level. Yeah, this is probably our highest level of thumbs down that I've seen. So people,
does that happen to other shows? Have you spent like if you're over on like EST and some of those, do they get thumbs down regularly too? I don't know.
I don't know, but I do know. Yeah, of the other podcasts that I've done that go to YouTube, there's always one or two, but I wasn't doing lives on those, so I don't know when they come in, and I don't know really what people. Oh, we got another. We're up to 6 thumbs down. Somebody doesn't even want us talking about it.
Does that mess with our algorithm? Like, what happens?
I can't imagine it. 9. No, that one of them was just rescinded. It's 91-5 now for thumbs up. I think we're good.
Oh boy.
I think we're fine. Okay, K. Gill, very adamant. He wanted to get this question in there. He says, when it comes to Kane, Stan Bowman says he'll know by March 1st. Don't you think it's a bit of a coincidence he will know on the day Kane's no movement clause ends? Shogger?
Yeah, so no movement clause ends, and it's a 16-team list that he submits, I believe. So the option would be there to execute a trade. Now, the team that they trade him to would have to have the ability to bring him onto their cap right away. I believe Hart Levine threw me that little note a little bit earlier on tonight. Of course, runs that fantastic site over at Puckpedia. So, yeah, I mean, the possibility is certainly there, but you got to remember, Kane's got another year. Anybody taking him on, this guy hasn't played a game yet. What kind of assets do you have to package with him for just strictly the unknown and the fact that there's another year there? That feels unlikely to me at this point. It would seem to me that maybe buyout is maybe a little bit more likely in the summer now that the cap going up. Maybe that's a little more palatable than trade. Although, I mean, crazier things have happened, I guess. But fair point by K. Gill.
Ronnie Oceanfront says, if you get 10 thumbs down, YouTube cancels your show. So we're treading on dangerous ground here.
Okay, we'll be better. We will do better.
Ro Nelson says, they need a fight or something. Her words, they look like limp, listless losers. I'm not going to go that far, but, part of what kind of pulled them out of the early season doldrums was a couple of scraps. Do they need something? Do they need Corey Perry, Darnell Nurse, somebody to just pick a spot and get it going, Struddy?
What helps you emotionally connect to a game? And, let's just look at these last three. I don't think there's really been much. Ekholm today was going after, Esselmont, after he kind of ran into Skinner. That was kind of pushing and shoving, kind of getting. But I do think you have to find a way to get the team to connect to the games.
Yeah, and you need everybody feeling like they've got a bit of responsibility to do that, right? Oilers threw 30 hits tonight. Like, that was an outlier. Funny enough, Evan Bouchard had 5 of them. I'm not sure if whoever was counting them in Tampa just had happy fingers or what. But still, I would say that the emotional engagement wasn't at the level that it needs to be. And I think that's been an issue for this team for most of the season. I don't think it comes naturally to them. And outside of one or two guys, there aren't many guys who even think about that through the course of a game. Too many guys, Struds, that would never even imagine, there might be something that I can do to try and spark the group and make everybody, have never even thought that might be something I should ever even have to consider. So there's not enough of it.
Shimey says, I think this is really interesting, an interesting thought. He says, not calling for a coaching change, but the Oilers have assumed the persona of their quiet coach, reserved, thoughtful, needs some urgency injected. We talked a little bit about some of the X's and O's of what Knobloch's been doing, and you guys were, had some things to say about that. But do you think his personality of the coach can rub off on a team in that way, Struddy?
Yeah, and quite honestly, I like a calmer coach. I had coaches that would yell and scream, and it really unsettled the whole group. Specifically on the bench. So I would disagree with that. I think that, internally you have to know how you have to play to be successful as a player. And I do think they miss Evander Kane's tenacity because he just stirs up things. And right now there's not a lot of players like that on this team.
What I will say about the personality of the team, though, there's a lot of super calm dudes in that room anyways. Very chill, very calm guys. You know what I thought? When I saw that video of Brad Marchand walking into Team Canada's locker room, laughing and joking and chirping at guys and this and that, I don't know who that guy is in the Oiler room, Struds. I don't know that they have that guy in the locker room. I think Ryan McLeod is one of those guys. I think he was really liked in that room, was kind of goofy. I think the teammates liked that and appreciated that. I can't help but think that there's maybe a personality type that they could use maybe a little touch more of in that room.
Yeah, stir it up a bit, right? Stir it up in a good way.
Yeah. The smart ass Struddy just always got a chirp ready, always got, something just to lighten things up, keep guys, easy going. I think they got some pretty serious customers in that room.
Okay, this actually dovetails nicely into a question I got earlier in the day from someone on Twitter, Kerry Alchin. He said, based on the poor play of Edmonton over the weekend, would an NHL coach ever do what the Letterkenny hockey coach does? which is basically lose his shit and tell the guys it's effing embarrassing and whatever. And has that ever happened to Struds or Schauger? He says I can't watch the live stream to ask this question live, but maybe you guys have a story, or what's your impression of or can you think of a time where you had a coach, and you don't have to name names if you don't want to, who just completely lost it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to think about when we played. I mean, that was pretty much how they talked to us. So, yeah, I mean, every stop I was at, and that's where how it worked. No, it wasn't always personal, but they'd come in and be like, "That's not good enough," and get going. We got to make this happen, and just give it. And most of the time it wasn't personal, right? So it was more just trying to get you going. Sometimes calculated, but sometimes just raw angry.
I have 1/100th the experience of you, Struds, but in my experience, it was very personal. I had a coach tell me in front of the entire team, like, not a word of a lie, "You are by far the worst junior hockey player I have ever seen, and it is not even close." So, yeah, I played for a coach that was an absolute snap show in junior, was pretty vicious, got pretty personal, dismantled guys on the regular. That was just the time and place that, I was in. He gave me my shot, though, so thanks, Shacker. Appreciate it. But, man, did we ever take a beating. So, yeah, I've played for a snap show for sure.
Okay, this has come up, I think, a couple times in these last 3 games. CK Pond says, Derek Ryan gets sent down a few weeks ago and the team goes 5-6. Is this coincidence? Are they missing his locker room presence? Anything to that, Schauger?
I just think they need a fourth-line center. Like, they keep trying to go Henrique, Nugent Hopkins down the middle next to Draisaitl and McDavid. They need Nugent Hopkins up on the wing. But they're short center. So the solution is to play Henrique down the middle or to play Janmark over there in the middle. I'm not loving it, Struds. They need a natural fourth-line center so that they can have a little bit more depth on the wings. And I think that's the way that they're struggling from it. You?
Yeah. I think it's more, personnel issues. I wonder if Phillips doesn't get another crack at this, just to change it up a little bit. Before they get going. And Kapanen, where's his game at right now? Right. I think everyone's plays kind of dropped off, but if I was him, I'd be hitting everything that moves and getting on that forecheck. Like, my life depends on it. I don't know that he's been bringing quite that just since the return here.
Yeah. I think Kapanen's game is going to come and go. That's the book on him. Had a nice bump when he got here. He's had a good year, put together some good runs. But I think his game is going to come and go. So I think when he's playing well, you lean into him a bit. The rest of the time, he's a fourth-line player / scratch, and that's what he's been. But I still like him game 1 of the playoff, Struds. I like that speed. I like the fact he'll throw hits. I like the fact that he can kill penalties. I have him in my lineup game 1 of the playoffs.
Okay, I got 2 more to get to. One of them's kind of specifically for you, Schauger, but we'll go this one first. Paulie with the theory. He says they want Skinner to waive the no trade clause. 0 other reason he sits tonight. They aren't winning. You want a player that has 11 or 12 goals in your lineup. Do you think any of that is that organizationally or from the coach that they're trying to push him in that direction, Struddy?
Paulie want a cracker. Yeah, I've thought about that as well. Like, you're trying to force his hand, ask him to ask out. It's possible. I mean, I don't know that'd be, I don't know Knobloch that well, but I have a hard time envisioning that'd be his approach. But because it just doesn't add up. Something isn't adding up here that we can't see.
Sometimes players are just on the wrong side of the coach, and there's no great explanation for it. Every coach has them, quite frankly. For whatever reason, this happens to be Skinner with this staff. I thought it was turning in the right direction. We noted it. We were like, oh, something is softened here. And it turned, and he played better. And he started to find it, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's healthy scratched again. So I don't think they're trying to make him waive his no trade. I don't think that it's about making him, because, by the way, you still got to trade him somewhere. He's better off in the lineup scoring goals and producing if the end goal is to trade the player. So, and by the way, if you go to him and ask him to waive his no trade and you're sending him to a non-playoff team, he's going to be like pound sand. But if he's playing well and scoring goals, maybe there is somebody in the playoff picture that would be interested in him. The best pathway to either him contributing or him moving on is him in the lineup playing and contributing. So I don't think it makes sense to let him die on the vine.
All right, last one here from Ro Nelson. Shaggy, you might be in the best position sort of to answer this. She says, fellas, how much influence does owner Daryl Cates have at this time of year?
I would say my perception of it is that Daryl is a reasonably hands-off owner. I don't think that he is saying, have to do this or get this player or that player. I've never gotten that sense. I think Daryl Cates is probably pretty fiery, Struds. So I think Cates is the kind of owner where when he sees his team looking great and then all of a sudden going in the tank, sure, does he probably lose it a little and does he get frustrated and passionate and, does he fire a rocket every now and then? Maybe. But I don't think he's in there micromanaging the team. I just think he's an emotional owner, just like he was an emotional fan. So my guess is that that's what it's about. It's like, hey, big guy ain't happy. Well, guess what? Big guy shouldn't be happy right now, Struddy.
Yeah, and I could see that. I do. I wonder though, as you age as an owner, like he's been an owner for a while now, does that change your perspective? Because you can draw on other experiences, just like a GM or a coach. And I wonder if that's mellowed him out. We'll never know. We'll never know. But I would think we've been through a down before. We've been through good times before.
Mm-hmm. But I also think that it's like he probably thinks like a lot of the fans out there think, because that's where he comes from. That's what he's been his whole life as a fan. So he probably has a lot of the same instincts as what your fan out there would think. Like, what are we doing? What's the plan? What's going on? Right. I think the sense I get is that he's probably a really passionate guy and a really passionate owner, and you want that. You just don't want him pounding his fist saying you have to do this or that. And I've never gotten that sense. Never heard stuff like that in circles that you might hear that stuff. All right, that was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Let's wrap up the show, as always, with our Gallery Dental Play of the Day. Offering a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy, their experienced team providing personalized care with the latest technology, making sure you get the best treatment possible. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com. Struds, what do you got, buddy?
Well, I'm actually going to do the play of the last 2 decades. So today was announced that Diana Taurasi, a longtime WNBA star, is retiring. 2 decades in the WNBA, 42 years old. She did play in Europe as well, but her stats are pretty incredible. Over 2 decades, she averaged, I'm just quoting here, 19 points, 4 boards a game, and 3.5 assists in over 30 minutes a night. Like, she's one of the all-time greats, and 6 Olympic gold medals. 6.
Wow. You imagine that? Where do you put them? What do you do with them?
I don't even care anymore. They're just here. You just have a party and hand them out.
Here, take one home. As coasters, I think, at that point.
Yeah, we got enough of these. Here, take one.
Yeah. That was our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Okay, thanks to all of you for joining us on the live stream tonight. And if you're downloading us in podcast form, we greatly appreciate it. Do not forget, tomorrow, 12 o'clock Mountain Time, it'll be these two, Struds and Zuby, for episode 2 ever of Got Your Back's Struddy's World. Guys, any preview? Anything you want to let us in on? I saw you guys chatting in the chat group, making some plans.
Yeah, those are private texts, by the way, Shogger. Avert your eyes. But we got Darren Drager coming on. So it's you and Darren Drager. And so two huge stars. And then Zub and I will wrap that thing up in the second half of the show. Hey, Zubs?
Love it.
That's going to be fabulous. I can't wait. No dreams. Hopefully no dreams tonight about anything going bad on them.
No creepy, weird dreams. I know.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be Got Your Back Struddy's World, episode 2, tomorrow, live on our YouTube and X channels, and then available in podcast form. It's got its own podcast feed. So if you're currently subscribed to Got Your Back, that's awesome. But search Got Your Back Struddy's World and subscribe to that one as well. Man, we're piling out the content right now, including Struddy's World. That'll be 5 pods a week, 2 Ray and Dregs coming out of Rev Media. So tons of content as we hurtle towards the trade deadline. We're having a blast. Happy you're along for the ride, and we will chat again tomorrow for Struddy's World and then post-game after the Panthers. See you soon, folks.